This podcast is foreign language.
Oh my God. They're dead. I'm Liam, he's Rob, and this week on the Hey Guys podcast, we look back at Tobe Hooper's kitsch, self-aware, utterly oddball remake of 1953's beloved sci-fi B-movie Invaders from Mars. One of many B-movie remakes that showed up in the mid-80s. The question is, does this loving homage to William Cameron Menzies' pulpy but beloved original manage to thread the tonal needle in a way that movies such as Critters and The Blob managed so successfully around the same time? Does it recapture the charm of the original with added Stan Winston effects and a tongue set firmly into cheek? Or, well, does this simply confirm that Steven Spielberg definitely directed Poltergeist? Now, Rob, I believe this is a film neither of us has seen before.
No, it's a film that was on both of our lists, but I haven't seen it before. You haven't seen it before. So this was interesting, especially considering we both decided we're going into it happily because of The Blob.
Yeah, I think that film in particular, and The Blob was a movie you grew up with. I'd never seen. We covered it for the podcast. Very much of the same ilk, and an absolutely fantastic movie. That thread, that needle I was speaking about threading just a moment ago. That's almost a perfect example of it. Like I think that is as good as stuff like Critters is. I think The Blob is the high watermark in terms of marrying up kind of loving homage with genuinely entertaining quote unquote modern movie. This movie doesn't manage it, dare I say.
No, I mean, we'll get into it early because we don't want to keep going on about this compared to The Blob, but I will do that for now. I mean, you put Invaders from Mars next to The Blob. It shows just how differently two remakes of 1950 sci-fi classics can turn out. Chuck Russell's The Blob takes the original concept and pushes it into modern horror territory with confidence. It sharpens the tension, it amps up the gore, and uses 80s practical effects to create something genuinely frightening. I believe it's a remake that evolves the original and ends up surpassing it. On the other hand, then, Hooper's Invaders from Mars goes the opposite direction. Instead of modernizing the story, it recreates the 1953 film almost exactly, but with its exaggerated set, cartoonish acting, creatures that feel more like theme park mascots than monsters. The Supreme Martian leader looks like Krang from the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. David activates an alien weapon with a coin. The whole film feels like a dream sequence that never wakes up. It's affectionate, but it's also stuck between homage and parody, which stops it from landing as strongly as it could have.
No, I absolutely agree with everything you said there. It's I've never actually seen the 1953 original, and I know it's
same here, mate, same here.
But it's very much of its time in the same way that the original Blob movie is. And as you say, if you go back, and we will get over the whole Blob comparison shortly, but like you said there, when you rewatch The Blob, it has all that loving homage. It has those nods and those winks to 50s sci-fi B movies, but it definitely also feels like an 80s movie in the best possible way. It takes those two worlds and marries them like perfectly, and it almost creates a new tonal kind of horror movie in many respects. This film, other than the aforementioned Stan Winston effects, which on paper sounds great, but in this film, let's be clear, are not fucking very good.
The effects aren't too good, but sorry to interrupt you. No. The effects aren't too good, but I do think when it comes to Stan Winston, Krang from Dimension X and the only two, because they've only used two alien outfits and they've reused those two alien outfits every time. I think they look good, if not a bit clumsy, but everything else around it, I'm not too sure.
I like Krang, the Supreme Martian intelligence guy. I think he's good. He's the best thing about this film in terms of practical effects. I think the other two aliens just look stupid. I'm not sure if they were going, because that is the thing, as the movie goes on, especially when you get to the aliens and certainly when the military shows up, you're just like, oh, is this kind of like borderline turning into a very self-aware comedy where it's like you say, it's so true to the original. And of course it does have its tongue in cheek, but there's no real sense of kind of genuine comedy to it. It's almost just saying, look how silly these movies were. And this is it basically just recreated in the 80s.
You hit the nail on the head then, because I wrote down as well, it's not just a remake of the 1953 original. It's a self-aware remake that deliberately exaggerates the things that make the original so odd. Tobe Hooper recreates a 50s film almost beat for beat, keeping the child POV paranoia, the dream logic, the surreal tone. But he also pushes everything into camp, oversized sets, theatrical acting, rubbery creatures, and aliens that look suspiciously like Krang from Dimension X. Film ends up feeling like a kid's nightmare filtered through 80s creature feature excess. It's not quite parody, not quite horror, and not quite a straight remake. It sits in a strange tonal middle ground. It's charming, colourful, and weird, but never fully committing to one identity.
No, and it seems to go back and forth throughout the film to the point where at any given time in the film, I'm not sure how in on the joke it is. It's like, are they playing this bit straight, but then this bit is exaggerated? Is this tongue in cheek or is this loving homage? And it all just kind of melds into one, and it just never truly works. I can see why some people, I mean, obviously one of our listeners who requested this, and we're not going to blame him because this was on the list. I can see why some people might have an attachment to this film. And admittedly, when he did request the film, he did say, listen, the script is bad, the acting's bad, but there is a certain charm to it. That is true. And a lot of that comes through with the fact that, we mentioned it a few times, this clearly is a loving homage. This isn't something put together by accident. Tobe Hooper is going for something. There are nods throughout. It's like Jimmy Hunt, who played the original David in the 1953 version. He's the police chief. Yeah. The school is named W.C. Menzies Elementary after the original director. The original Supreme Intelligence prop briefly appears in the school basement.
On top of the filing cabinet.
Yeah, on top of the filing cabinet. And it is the actual prop in the original 1953 movie. This is clearly made with a reverence for the source material. I think the problem is it has too much reverence for the source material and just never becomes its own thing.
Yes, thank you. I had that as well. What you just said, it's too faithful to the 1953 structure. It's too campy to be scary. It's too serious to be full parody. Mm-hmm. It feels like a children's film wearing a horror costume. Its tonal identity is split down the middle. It's having issues everywhere with it.
Yeah, and it runs all the way through the film. It's like there's a sequence early in the film where I actually thought one of the better sequences in the film when after the spaceship has landed, or not, because we're getting the whole dream bullshit of this at the end of the podcast, but Jesus Christ. We'll go on the assumption that a spaceship did land. And David's dad comes downstairs and he's missing one slipper, which is the first time, they've got this whole weird relationship as a family. Like the first time when they're like watching a meteor shower, they watch it like fucking psychos. They have the weirdest relationship. They're like sitting outside the house in front of like, literally the kind of brightest light in the house. It's like, this is a terrible, you're supposed to be from NASA, you psycho. Sorry.
Are they laying on planks of wood or a bench? Because I didn't know it was a plank of wood or a bench. And then she comes out and tells him it's a school night. And is she a teacher or not? I don't, because he says you've got school too, but she never leaves the house.
Yeah, that's the other thing. I'll say, she must be a teacher. That's going to play into this. That never becomes a thing. And, she's obviously letting him lay out there, like with his dad watching the meteor shower. And then she comes out like mid-meteor shower saying, off to bed now. It's like, well, you've let him stay up this long. At least let him watch the end of the meteor shower. Anyway, that's mental. He comes downstairs. His dad is wearing one slipper. And the way the mum, who is totally passive about all the weird shit going on, until the moment the dad says, oh, you can do the dishes too, which is just like, he must be an alien. He must be a fucking alien. He's asking me to do the dishes. But the way she's passive about the fact that he's just like wearing one slipper, she's like, oh, you must have lost the other one. If I lost one slipper overnight and I came downstairs with one slipper, my wife would be like, what the fuck is going on? How the hell? She would give me such a grilling if I came down with one slipper. But as I said, this film is odd from, you get the Canon logo, which is, I'm not sure if that's a sign of quality or if it's something to be excited about. I mean, that's the kind of magic of a Canon logo.
Yeah.
But when it goes like, and they obviously had a thing with Superman because, they were famously, I think they did Superman 4, didn't they? The Quest for Peace.
Yeah.
And they brought that kind of classic Superman logo with the names coming into the screen. They took that and put it in Masters of the Universe. I'm sure you remember that at the start of the film, Dolph Lundgren's Masters of the Universe. And they've put it into this film, only they've just completely butchered the premise. It's like, you think of how iconic the Superman, kind of the credits are, the opening credits, sorry. In this, it's the same premise, but just done horribly. It's got that weird score, which doesn't really work, and immediately alarm bells are ringing. And things don't get much better, sadly.
No, they really don't. Let's look at the the acting of this as well, which is interesting. But I tell you one who was good, Mrs. McKelch. I thought she was good. But my God, she had a fucking hard-on for the kid, didn't she?
Such a hard on. I mean, I love the fact that was like a proper 80s throwback. Like there are two major 80s throwback in this film. It's when David comes down for breakfast and the first thing he does is just crack a can of Dr. Pepper.
Yeah.
That you did in the 80s, just get up in the morning, I'm just gonna have a soda, just first fucking thing. And Mrs. McKelch, one, like you say, having a total boner for David. But two, back in the days when teachers could just get away with verbal and mental abuse, it was just totally accepted back in the 80s.
Did you not see that one kid throw a frog and hit? And nobody stuck up for David either. It's like, and then as soon as she turned around and David threw the frog back and cut his thumb, she's like, all right, he sliced it with a scalpel. Little shit fucking deserves it. I hope you have to have needles.
And just to be clear, this all happened on quote unquote Frog Week.
Yeah.
What the fuck is, and this is right, this is going to be, because we have quite a few American listeners.
This is a tonal
well,
difference between us.
This is going to be just like when the kid made bullets in shop class in Monster Squad, and everyone's like, of course, we always made bullets in shop class. Like, you fucking did. I know you're more into guns in America, but I didn't know you were just making bullets in shop class in high school. And is Frog Week a thing? I know dissecting frogs used to be a thing, but there is a big step up from a science class when you dissect a frog to motherfucking Frog Week. That feels like that feels like too much. But she's clearly into all that stuff because she's got all that taxidermy in a weird rapist van as well. She is mental, that teacher.
Why? Again, you were not letting your teacher drive up in, basically, as you say, a pedo van. They're not driving up in that van. You're like, can you go home and just walk to school or something? Because if anyone sees that, if they see through the windows and see you've got taxidermy shit in it, have you got kids at home just stuffed?
It's so mental because, like, in that sequence, it's like Dad, David's dad rolls up in Bronco. George rolls up in his Bronco too, and it looks like an 18 kind of like 4x4. It's such a cool van, and you immediately forget about it when you see. Because you remember Mrs. McCall, just like, obviously at this point she's become like an alien stand-in, whatever you want to call it, Invaders of the Body Snatcher style. She's been taken over. But she is just first and foremost a psycho teacher at the start before the aliens have any involvement. And this is what she's like. Why would she be driving taxidermy around? It's so bizarre. And it's just another example of this film, Tony, being so bizarre. It's like, I don't know what they're going for with that at all.
No, in regards to bizarre as well. I mean, before they even land a massive, massive spaceship out his back garden.
A horribly designed spaceship as well. Consider this is Stan Winston. It's one of the worst designed spaceships I've ever seen in a movie.
Apparently his back garden just has a quarry or a sand dune or something.
Which everyone seems to be shocked. Like, and don't get me wrong, that's one of my aesthetically one of my favorite parts of the scene. The house, the Gardner family house, which feels like it could be from a million different 80s sci-fi movies. Like, if you told me that was from the Critters or Close Encounters or something, I would totally buy it. But the way they've got they've obviously built a set for that walkway up to the quarry, and the way they light it, it's all totally overdone.
It looks like an oil painting, doesn't it?
It does
look lovely, yeah. Absolutely.
But this idea that everything over that tiny little ridge just on the edge of their house is like a complete fucking mystery. It's just like...
You said as well about his mum, Ellen, just until he said about doing the dishes, she just didn't believe it.
Oh, yeah.
She didn't even question the fact he came out of the bushes with Heather's dad who works for the phone company. There's no question. It's like, they've just come out of the bushes. They could be doing anything.
You'd be like, dude, are you fucking that guy's dad? Like,
that's for me. Yeah. You feel like it's like a scene from Brokeback Mountain that they just got caught or something. It's just, they walked up the bushes, adjusting their tie. And the other thing as well about questioning, I know David's a kid, but his dad's neck wound was pretty substantial at the beginning of the film.
Yeah, well, I mean, you see what goes in the back of their neck, that really, really oversized, really slow-moving needle.
That fucking thing is coming out the front. If they're laying down and they're drilling directly down, which is what they're doing, it's not going like into the body. It's coming out your fucking throat. Again,
it kind of just leads me to the whole like the Stan Winston thing of this all again. I know, obviously, this would have had a smaller budget. But this is the guy who wrote us like the special effects in Jurassic Park, The Thing, Aliens, Predator, Edward Scissorhands, some of the most iconic movies, the 80s and 90s in particular. And then this movie, and I know part of it is, it could have been someone else's design and he's just making it work and stuff. But I don't know, man, because, you think about even like if you go to Tobe Hooper and you look at his other films, because this was part of a 3-picture deal he had with Cannon Films. Like Cannon Films basically saw Poltergeist, assumed that he directed it. Even with our Poltergeist episode, we're still a little unsure how much he actually directed and how much Spielberg directed. Based on this evidence, I'm going to go 80-20 Spielberg. But they gave him a really lucrative 3-picture deal. And they're like, oh, we're going to get loads more fucking, we're going to get the guy who directed Texas Chainsaw Massacre, Poltergeist. This is going to be awesome for us. So he makes Life Force, the horniest mainstream movie in movie history. Another movie we've covered in this podcast, which if you've not watched or listened to the podcast, please watch the film. Please listen to the podcast. It is one of the most insane movies you'll ever see.
I know you want to finish the list, and please do finish the list. But when I think of the fact that we've covered absolute gems on this podcast, like we've done like Die Hard and all the classic 80s ones, but then we've also done things like you say, like Life Force and Nightbreed and Cat People. Yes, it's like Jesus Christ, we have an eclectic.
Well, I mean, we're going on the Tobe journey here. I mean, we've covered Life Force. Then he did this movie, which I'm sure they would have expected more from, but it ends up disappointing at the box office. And obviously, critically, let's just say the response was mixed. Yeah. And then he ended up, they thought, well, at least he's going to make a follow up to Texas Chainsaw Massacre. And then Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2 turned out to be a dark comedy satire. They're like, what the fuck, Tobe? We gave you all that money. What the hell are you doing to us? You can see why canon movies went under. It's these kind of decisions. They just clearly gave him too much creative freedom. And this is another perfect example. He's obviously making his love letter to this movie, but it needed someone to come in and separate him from his love to the source material and just be like, you're not making anything new. You're just putting a new coat of paint on something that already exists, and you're just not getting the tone right. You need something to differentiate it. Or you need to turn it into a comedy, or one thing or another, and he never quite lands the plane, I think is fair to say.
Totally agree. He's tried so hard to have an homage to the fifth without losing the feel of it, the funness of it, the terrible acting, things like that. I mean, you've seen it before in things like Ed Begley Jr. did a film where they were ant aliens who.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, do you remember that one? That was proper like the 50s style as well, and that seemed to work. But for some reason with this one, it just didn't work.
Yeah, but he hasn't leaned into it enough, because it feels like some people got the memo and some people didn't. Like you say, like some of these films where they're clearly going for 50s B-movie homage, everything's kind of taken up a notch. And you do get that with this film, but it actually comes in later in the film. So like I said, when the military shows up, suddenly it is full-blown kind of, I would borderline say, comedy homage at that point. They're like, we're fully aware of what we're doing. We're sending up these movies from the 50s. But for the first half, it feels more like a traditional kind of 80s, sci-fi movie with a B-movie twist. But again, it kind of, because it kind of shifts moment to moment. Like I said, sorry, I didn't get to my point really when I was talking about when George is eating breakfast and David's watching it, the score goes insane. And they keep cutting back to David's face and his kind of shocked, expression. And I'm like, I don't know in this moment if they're playing that for laughs or whether it's just bad direction and really bad acting. Because make no mistake, David isn't great in this film.
No,
he's not. And the film, from his point of view, so that does, that is a problem.
I think there's a reason why he was. Well, there is definitely a reason why he was hired. Do you know why he was hired?
Yeah,
because Karen Black is his mother. Karen Black, who played Linda, our star of the film, is his mother. So I'm guessing she just said, I act better against my son. So
that made it, I guess, watching their relationship a little bit more comfortable, because there are a few times the way it's shot is so bizarre. Like there's a sequence when they go and hide down in the boiler room of the school when the cops are upstairs.
Yeah.
And the way they're like holding each other, at some point David turns to Linda and I was just like, they're shooting this like he's going to kiss her. That's what it felt like. I was like, this is bizarre. And then when the cops come down and they're on the bed, the whole sequence, if you just walked in on that sequence, you'd be like, wait, did those cops just catch that elderly woman in bed with that child? It's shot in the most bizarre way. And their relationship throughout is just odd. It's just odd.
How fortuitous in that basement, though, at the exact same time the alien cops are going to shoot them, did the aliens manage to drill a hole into the basement and kill
that
them.
Specific place. And, this is Tobe Hooper territory, another giant dick alien. If you've seen Life Force, you know exactly what I'm talking about. That movie is phallic as fuck. And you get it with the Supreme Martian Intelligence. When he comes through his dick door, and when I say dick door, I don't mean a door which is shaped like a dick. I mean a door which is just loads of dicks. Yeah. It's just loads of dicks. And this head comes through it, and you're just like, that can't be an accident. Like I said, maybe I would have given him the benefit of the doubt if I hadn't seen Life Force. But motherfucker, I've seen Life Force. Those are supposed to be dicks. It's just his MO. He's a horny mofo. What can you do? I'm sorry, I put you on the spot then. I do
You
apologize.
did, yeah, because you think of Dick Door, and I had nothing to follow up with.
Well, yeah,
Dick
how
Door.
do you follow up Dick Door? It's tricky. It's really tricky. One thing I did have to ask, did you know what that robot toy was? Because I feel like I just missed out on that. Like, we're a little bit obviously younger than what David
I've
would have been in this
seen
film.
it, but I've never seen it in the UK.
Yeah, I just feel like I've seen it in a bunch of movies, but I don't quite know what it is. But yeah, like I said, when you suddenly find out that George works for NASA, I'm like, wait, what?
No, but does he? So that's the question. Does George work for NASA, or does George work on the base where NASA is currently setting up a rocket? Also, this is a small town, yeah?
Yeah, and just by the way, it gets like dropped in like an hour into this film. This is like a mission to Mars. There is a fucking space rocket which has to take off today, apparently. And when the boffins come in, and they've just found out, let's be clear, unequivocally, alien life exists. It's in this small town, and it seems quite, aggressive. They're just like, oh, we can't abort the mission. We still have to take off today. I was like, what the fuck is going on? What the fuck is going on?
I love it. Like, this entire film is a misunderstanding as well. The aliens find out somehow, the Martians find out you're planning to go to Mars. Mm-hmm. And they're thinking, oh, you're going to come here to overthrow us, so we're going to do it first.
Is that really what the like?
I believe it is, yeah.
I was like, I never really got a sense of the alien plan or the scale of the invasion or anything. They're just, we're going to stop you going to Mars. That's really the ultimate plan.
The ultimate plan is to stop them from going to Mars. And I'm assuming then it's to lay the groundwork for an actual invasion. Because only one ship has come along.
Yeah.
And
with 3 people on board.
I love as well. How
three people, quote unquote people, 3 aliens, sorry.
The only way you know it's like NASA as well is the two petrol tankers that just have NASA written on the side.
Of course, yeah. That's the only sign. That's the only sign.
Do you know you said the 2 aliens as well? Do you know how that was done?
Oh, where like one guy was walking backwards and the other one was doing the mouth, like basically sitting on his back or something.
One guy is walking forwards. I read this in fact, so please don't attack me for this. Mm-hmm. One regular-sized person is walking forwards whilst they have a little person strapped to their back like a backpack.
Oh, I see. Well, again, it is the 80s.
And then that regular-sized person is walking backwards so the little person can see what's going on.
I just don't think it worked. Like, I thought this film
You know who the little people were?
No, go for it.
So, the one was Tony Cox, who was in Me, Myself, and... why am I saying Me, Myself, and Irene? He's Bad Santa's partner.
Oh, yeah. He's awesome.
And the other one is Phil Fondacaro. You would know him if he's been in loads of things. Mm-hmm. Like he was one of.
He's probably in Willow. He's probably in Return of the Jedi. A lot of business. The little fellas.
He was Voknar in Willow, but I always remember him from Crawl, which was the same year as Invaders from Mars, where he played Malcolm Mallory, but he also played Torok the Troll, who went up against Harry Potter.
Well, it was the golden era for little people in cinema. It was just, they were making a lot of fantasy films, and it was like, you think of Time Bandits, the whole fucking cast were all little. It is little people. That is great. I don't want to be facetious or ridiculous.
I'm thinking little people as well. So if I'm
wrong,
well,
I hope. I'm not. I'm like I said, I'm not being facetious. If I'm getting that wrong, I do apologize. I think it is little people. But it was like, you think about how they fucked it with Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs, where they're just, we're moving beyond that and all this shit. And it's like, these guys want a fucking job. It's like, making their mind up for them. It's like, we're going to put in these CG monstrosities instead. It was like, when you had films like Time Bandits, obviously Willow, stuff like that, it was fucking awesome.
What's his name? He played Toxic Avenger.
Oh, yeah, he was the one who fucked it for him.
Yeah, but what is his name?
From The Station Agent, he's super famous.
Yeah.
Fuck, what's his name?
Obviously, Game of Thrones as well.
Yeah, you can look that up. Well, I'll rant.
But you are right, he fucked it for and I've seen some, because Hornswoggle, the rest of Hornswoggle, Dylan, I can't remember his second name, and then Brad Williams, the comic. They all went. He fucked it. He absolutely. Peter Dinklage.
Peter Dinklage. See, he's like, he's doing well for himself, and he's a mainstream actor. But a lot of these little people, let's make no mistake, it's like, bit part roles in these like special effects movies. That's their kind of bread and butter, and he's going to be the one to take that away from them. It's like when, all of a sudden somebody decided, oh, you can't have like pit girls in Formula One or at these like sporting events, and it's like, do you think it's like the hot girls whose job it is? To like, they're the ones making their mind up. It'll be some fucking fat bitch, pardon my French. It'll be some whatever, or some just like whatever dude being like, oh no, you can't have these attractive women. It's just like, maybe there's a case for it, but I'm just like, you're also taking away their jobs. Like that is their job, and you're the one deciding. So, they can get an office job. I'm like, I don't think it pays as well, or the travel's quite as awesome as a Formula One fucking pickup. Anyway, sorry, this turned into a bit of a rant there.
Yeah, that really upset you then, didn't it?
Well, I just don't like other people, making kind of executive decisions, on behalf of like the morality police and stuff like that. It just gets up my nose. But the whole family thing in this film, they're a weird family throughout. I'm not convinced they're any more normal when they become aliens. The Mrs. McCalch thing, I find that whole sequence very... I think it's indicative of all the problems with this film, because on paper, I think that's maybe the most interesting element of this film. Like you said, if directed and handled in the correct way, this is like a child fantasy movie. It's like, it's from the kid's perspective. And, the reason Mrs. McCalch is so heavily involved with the aliens at the end, there's no reason for it to be there. There's no reason other than he's getting one over on the teacher. Like you get that moment at the end where basically the Supreme Intelligence guy comes down, the head thing. And David, of course, escapes the aliens again with complete ease. She's there for no reason whatsoever. He punches the alien, it's like a 10-year-old kid, calls him Dick Nose, which he is a bit, and then she accidentally falls into one of the alien's mouth and gets... It's like, it's fantasy stuff for children, but it's like the rest of the movie doesn't play out like that.
Was it her mission to co-opt all the kids? And the reason why she got such a hard-on for David is because he keeps evading her. So
maybe.
Is she at the end of the film because she's gloating that they finally have it and it all goes wrong? But also, if she's gloating at the end, is she completely brainwashed? Because she never liked David in the first place. David was a little shit. In her mind, David's a little shit who needs... So are they completely... Because his parents are completely brainwashed.
Yeah, I think like most of these films, there's like an element of they still have their memories, so they can kind of function on some kind of certain level. They know what they're doing. They're not just kind of plonked into their brains. It's like there's a level of mind control, but I suspect they still have their memories. So I'll give them that. But like you say, her complete obsession with David, I'm like, surely these aliens have bigger fish to fry than constantly going after David. But that's the point of the film, is putting the emphasis and the importance on the child. And some movies can pull that off. This movie doesn't, because the rest of the movie doesn't feel like that. So when they suddenly do it, and like you said, you suddenly have David punching the Supreme, alien intelligence in the face. You're just like, this doesn't feel like it works. It just feels like it's from a completely different movie. Like, is this supposed to be, like you say, a B movie 80s like creature feature, or is this like Saturday cartoon stuff? And, obviously that's not helped by the fact that the alien definitely looks like Krang from fucking Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
It's ridiculous, isn't it? Like a little brain with hands. Like I couldn't believe it when I saw it. Like, and obviously, TMNT came out after this, wasn't it? Late 80s, early 90s?
Yeah, it was after this. Yeah.
So
this was 86,
somebody watched
86.
Yeah, so somebody watched Invaders from Mars and went, well, there's our Krang from Dimension X.
Yeah, I don't blame them. Like I said, it's pretty good design, but the rest of the film, I don't know, man. To be honest, I mean, every time I think I'm having an issue with this film, I remember that my biggest issue is fundamentally not specifically David, but his running. His running is a massive problem. For a movie where you have a kid who is, make no mistake, I think the worst runner I have ever seen on screen. I think it's that bad. Yeah. Like, if one end of the spectrum, you've got Tom Cruise just running his ass off, looking like an absolute champ. David is at the other end. You can make an argument. There's one sequence in The Expendables 2 where Sylvester Stallone ill-advisedly runs across a courtyard and it just looks horrendous. He looks like Woody from Toy Story. This is worse because this is a young boy. And I was like, are they playing it for laughs? Because when he runs, his arms are above his head. He runs like a complete moron. And I was just like, all right, he's run like a moron. Let's just cut that out. There are then 12 more sequences of this little idiot running like a complete psycho. I was like, bring in a fucking stunt kid, anything. But again, I couldn't tell you unequivocally if it was played for laughs or whether this kid is just the worst runner ever. And that's, again, speaks to the problems with this movie.
Would you believe him?
Well, like Linda did. Like immediately, like as soon as
to be fair, yeah, she said something and he said something. She was like, take my keys, get the fuck out of here, go on your 80s.
Because Mrs. McCalch had a boil. Oh, she's like, well, she does have a boil on her neck. Yeah, I should probably give her the keys to my house, let him jump out the window and evade the police. This seems completely legit. No, Nurse Linda is a fucking psycho who just happened to luck out.
Oh, absolutely. I couldn't believe it though when she was because it was like, oh, I shouldn't have done this. I tell you what though, it'll be okay. I'll come up with a convincing lie for everybody to believe. Oh
Mhm.
wait, no, I don't need to because Mrs. McAllister just tried to kidnap you again.
Again, yeah. I mean, the teacher does have previous as well. It wasn't like if Mrs. McAllister had been like really nice earlier in the film, and then all of a sudden Mrs. McAllister rolls up and she's just like, "Give me David," and she's grabbing his arm and being a bellend. You'd be like, "Oh, there might be reason for her to be suspicious," but she's a bellend at the start,
Yeah.
and then she's a bellend as an alien, and that's
She
it.
should have been the sweet old teacher from the faculty. She
Exactly
was nice.
that.
She was nice and she was comforting. But then when Bebby Newworth turned around, she picked up the scissors and just stabbed the fuck out of her. That's what you need.
Yeah, it's very strange. But then this movie's full of strange characters. It's like, I mentioned the fact that the tone shifts to like borderline flat out comedy and genuine B movie homage as soon as General Wilson shows up. So, who is he played by? Because he's one of the best actors in this film, I think. James Caron, I think it is, who plays General Wilson. When he shows up,
James Caron as Clement Wilson.
Clement Wilson, fantastic. Yeah, when he shows up and you're like David, like he just shows up at the base and he's like, whoa, it's George's son. Let him through immediately. Despite the fact that there was a rocket launch going to Mars, because of course there fucking is. They just let him straight in and he has a control room / office. It's like he is sitting there, he's got a table, he's got a framed picture of himself, he's smoking a cigar, but it's also filled with like bizarre computers.
It's
so
one
of the strangest rooms.
Because they're there going, David, we've let you in because obviously you're George's son and you can have run of the place, but tell us what you need. I'm not going to tell you anything till I see the back of all of your necks. Okay.
And which they all just give it up immediately.
Yes.
And then those two weird janitors who I never quite got the deal with them. So George calls those two, they're down as researchers on the back of their jackets. They're dressed like janitors. And they go to the pit up by the house, the sand pit, and they appear to have metal detectors. I have no idea what they're doing or why they're there.
I believe...
please explain to me.
I believe he said a lie to them to get them there. He needed these two guys to get in and get close to plant the bombs.
Yeah.
So obviously they need to be stabbed in the neck with a massive fucking spike.
Of course.
So there's some sort of white lie he's told them because obviously he said there's something that's relevant. That's why they brought them out.
It just felt like they just appeared out of nowhere.
They did appear out of nowhere. I'm guessing.
Cool. That makes me feel much better. Because like after the fact, I was like, oh well, that must have been why. But when I was watching it in the moment, I was just like, why are these two fucking guys here? Who are they?
Linda followed David to the top. The entrance to the spaceship is now gone.
Yeah.
And as they're about to go back to the house, you see George and George's wife, I don't know her name, Ellen, was it? Ellen, talking to these guys. So I'm guessing a white lie was said to get them there because they need to get close. What an elaborate plan. They need to get close to the fuel truck to put the C4, not even hidden. It was literally the biggest block of C4 I've ever seen strapped to the front of the thing. Nobody else has questioned it.
Security is not great. Security is not great on this operation, considering they're going to Mars. But this will happen if you have a space rocket going to Mars in, I don't know, fucking Wisconsin or Wisconsin's being too kind. That's probably,
Speaking of Ellen as well, I was super shocked. I can't believe this is the second time I'm going to bring this up. I said this before we started recording. I was super shocked. So Lorraine Newman has been fucking acting forever. She was Dan Aykroyd's wife in Coneheads.
Yeah, that's what I remember her from.
But lately, she was fainting sheep in The Sheep Detectives. We've already mentioned this fucking film before.
That's bizarre. Yeah. I didn't think we would be talking about The Sheep Detectives quite so. But yeah, I mean, she's got to be I think she was born like 1939, 1940 when I looked it up. So she's getting on a bit. But it is one of those.
Lately now, she's additional voices. So she's like in Minions and Monsters, Super Mario Galaxy movie.
Yeah, those are massive films, though.
But all additional voices. So I'm guessing she's just doing things.
But but still, to be additional voices in some of the biggest movies, like of all time, we're talking about here.
She is a voice actress now for a long time by the look of this.
Oh, yeah, that's fair enough. I'm obviously a very successful one. And she is very charming in this film. Like, it's easy to make fun of her decision making in this film. She is good. She does elevate David's performance. It probably is the fact that it's his mother.
No, not Karen Black. I was on about Lorraine Newman, who played his actual mother in the show.
Oh, no, sorry. Yeah, my apologies. Sorry. Mix those two up. Yeah. So yeah, I think she is one of the better aspects of this film. She's a little bit hysterical at times with like just random screaming, and again, I
Yeah.
don't think it's her fault. I think it's the way it's directed. But as I said, once we get to the military and the takeoff of the rocket, it all feels like it just drops out of the sky. No pun intended. I'm not sure if that is a pun, but all of a sudden, the general's in the room. David somehow convinces them that aliens are taking over. The two janitors / researchers come in, and then suddenly Kung Fu fucking Carl shows up, and it just turns into an action movie briefly. You never get any more Kung Fu for the rest of the film. But
I love how the one guy waits as well, just waits holding his gun until Kung Fu Carl has finished, so he could take him out. It's like typical 80s films again, where your hero is fighting 10 men at once. But he's not really fighting 10 men at once because they're all waiting their turn, like they've taken a ticket. I can't go yet. I can't go yet. Okay, he's hit that guy. I'll go now. It's like I love the choreography of things like that. So just to unconfuse them, Karen Black, who played Linda, who was David's real mum.
Okay, gotcha.
She was born in 1939.
Yeah.
And then Lorraine Newman, who played Ellen, the film mum, who was Conehead's wife. She was born in 1952. So there's 20 years. There's 20 years between Linda and Elaine.
Yeah. Sorry, I mixed those two up. I do apologize. But yeah, like you said, at this point, once you get to the military and all that jazz, it's like common sense is absolutely abandoned. You get the boffins coming in, and they're just inexplicably telling David all of their plans and the fact that they were aliens, and they found this stuff on Mars. It's just like anything to get us over the line at that point. Any excuse to get David, let's be clear, heavily involved with the military.
Yeah.
And, there's no sense anymore. It's like these holes are appearing in the ground. They all just pop down. They just, there's no kind of like rhyme or reason. They're just like, grab your rifles and your rocket launchers and your sniper rifles and let's head down there. It's like, it's close quarters combat. Make sure one of you brings a rocket launcher. The small one, no, the gigantic one.
The one that basically is a ground-to-air missile that needs to lock onto a moving target. Like
It's absurd. Well, they have two. There's the one they used to break the window in the spaceship. There's also one where one of the dudes is just carrying it around with him, and he shoots it at one point. It hardly even like gets onto his shoulder. He doesn't like trying to settle himself. It just plops on his shoulder and just shoots a rocket like it's a goddamn video game.
And the other thing, and they go, "Oh, we've got one of the aliens' weapons. Oh, we can't use it. We can't use it. It's okay. I have a coin. My coin will fit in the slot like it's a game.
Oh, how thematically rich. And even then, David's like, you aim it, I'll shoot it. Yeah, no problem, David. We'll do just fucking that. How about you give me the alien gun, dickhead, and I'll deal with this.
Give me a collection of pennies, apparently, because it's all about copper, and we'll fucking move on.
Yeah, I mean, they're going for something thematic there with the gift from his dad. It doesn't land like most things in this film. What I did love is when I think the character's name was like Mark Weinstein. He was one of the boffins from NASA.
Yeah,
who suddenly
tries to go up. Like those fucking things look like they're going to eat you straight away.
And I was going to be super judgmental. And I was like, this film's so dumb. But I was just like, they did the same scene in Prometheus and played it straight. They did the exact same scene where the two supposedly smartest guys go up to the fucking killer alien snakes. And they're just like, oh, are you okay, Mr. Snake? Dude, of course you're going to die. This is I think the alien snake things are maybe more terrifying than the weird, I know, butt creatures in this film.
Yeah,
but not smart in either case.
I appreciate the weird butt creatures. But the fact that they have teeth ground to a point,
and rockets on their shoulders,
probably gives it away. Although nobody knew they were rockets at that point, because it just looked like they'd taken a spaceman's helmet and pasted it to their shoulder.
Little bit. But they, like you say, no, I totally agree. There's enough in there, just general appearance, to suggest maybe I won't go up and just roll the dice. That's a lot of teeth and a very big mouth.
Did he have an EKG meter as well? It looked like he had an EKG meter before he went in.
They're just like, just hold science stuff. Just science. Well, what does it do? So I don't even know what it is. It's just, it looks 80s. It's got lights on it. It's just science stuff.
Like, it was so funny because when they went to the basement and he's holding the EKG meter over it and he's like, mine's cool because mine's got lots of lights and sounds. And then his friend come up next to him and basically had a blind man stick with a ball on the end.
Yes. Exactly.
And he's holding it over. And it's a comical sized ball on the end of that as well. And he's holding it over like it's doing something.
Well, that was the great thing about like 80s design is like they would just take bits and bobs, glue them together, and create something. And sometimes it'd work out, and you get like fucking, I don't know,
a lightsaber. You get a fucking like you get a pipe from the hardware store. All of a sudden, you've got Luke's lightsaber. So,
you get like buses and then proton packs or something like that. But then
Yeah.
also you get movies like this where you're just like, that's just a ball on a stick, and that's just, I don't know, whatever that weird EKG reader, whatever that it was, it just looked dodgy. But by this point, the movie's gone pretty dodgy, if truth be told, across the board. Like I said, it's not even to mention the fact that when David finally shows up and, you have that first showdown with the aliens, and it just like inexplicably turns into like an alien disco. I'm just like, why are there so many like disco lights? This is so strange. And again, I'm like, at this point, I'm like, you are playing this for laughs, right? Kind of, maybe not. And I think what throws me is the fact that the start really does feel like Invasion of the Body Snatchers. So at the start, it actually feels quite creepy. And I was like, oh, they're going for like that creepy B-movie vibe. They're taking over, the people you love, but they're not quite themselves. And then all of a sudden, you just get alien fucking disco in a shitty version of the ship from Predator 2, albeit with a touch of, Geiger about it as well. And you're just like, all right, these two films are existing side by side. I guess so. Very, very odd.
Which ship would you take? Would you take this one with all these weird little aliens inside, or would you take Killer Clowns from Outer Space?
I mean, they're both terrible. I actually think, I think I mentioned earlier, I think the design for the spaceship is appallingly bad. At least with Killer Clowns from Outer Space, they're playing it for laughs. When the ship comes down, and it should be amazing because the lighting's cool and it all looks very 80s, the actual design of the ship is appalling, and it's not much better inside. No. But it is home to one of the strangest homages ever. So there are a bunch of homages in this film to the, obviously the 1952 original, the aforementioned Invaders of the Body Snatchers. Also, I'm pretty sure there's a clear reference to The Graduate when David goes up to the alien glass and he's banging on the window going, Linda, Linda. Dude, they do the exact same thing in Wayne's World. That's the end up with The Graduate as well. I was like, this can't be an accident. This has to be a bizarre Graduate nod in the fucking Invaders from Mars. Very strange stuff.
Very strange indeed.
Yeah. I don't know what else to say about. Oh, wait, before we move on, we have to mention the ending, which is batshit. Now,
it was going to be my Rob take, so we can mention it now.
Well, let's go for Rob's take, and we'll talk about this thing. Go for it, buddy.
Okay, so Rob's take, the ending. The dream within a dream twist is like just pure 80s chaos. It's fucking nuts.
Well, it's Dallas stuff. The only thing I'll say in their defense is the original has the same ending.
Yeah.
So it is obviously a nod to the original. However, like they undo everything that happens in the film by making it a dream. Then they undo the dream by having the spaceship come down. So it's like the whole thing was a premonition. And then he goes into his parents' room and just screams. And we're just like, what is he screaming at?
You can hear the alien noises in the background. So whether or not they're turning into aliens or whether the aliens are eating his parents. So it's not really mind control. It's just them fucking killing. I don't know.
There's nothing to back that up.
No.
So it just seems bizarre. Like I said, I get it as a nod to the original, but it's both, it undoes the movie while also completely obliterating any logic the film had in the first place. And then to end on a shot which doesn't really make sense. I mean, it actually perfectly sums up this movie in many respects. But needless to say, like most of this film, the ending did not work for me.
Not at all, mate. Not at all.
Any other Rob takes, or should we go on to favorite scene?
No, the entire film is a Rob take, so I think we're good with just the ending.
Yeah, and we have shit on this. Don't get me wrong, it's not without charms. I can see why, if there's people who love this film and they're like, what the fuck? It's like, I can see why people have like an odd soft spot for this film. But if you objectively watch this film, it's a fucking train wreck, dude. Favorite scene is probably when David wakes up and goes down to breakfast and his dad is all creepy and weird. As I mentioned earlier, it promised a different movie at that point. It's not the movie we got, but I did quite like that scene in the moment. And there's also, from a technical perspective, when David's parents go to the school and they're telling off Nurse, whatever her name is, Nurse Linda, and they're kind of giving her a grilling, and the way the camera kind of pans in on them, it's almost like a crash zoom. It's actually the flashiest bit of direction in the whole film. I thought that was pretty cool.
No, I agree with you about that one. I did like when he comes in, he's all disheveled. So he went to have a look for David's sake and have a look, and then it's just fucked his entire world up. Yeah. It's a good scene. And like you said, it promises something that unfortunately didn't deliver.
Mm-hmm.
For me, I had to go with Lisa about to be mind wiped. It's the most gripping moment in Invaders from Mars. When Lisa is strapped into the alien chamber, she's seconds away from having a mind wipe. It's the one scene where the film drops the camp and leans fully into dread. The lighting shifts, the machinery hums, the aliens close in with that unsettling rubbery precision. Dave is watching helplessly from the side, makes it even worse. He's a kid facing something no adult believes, and now the one person who trusted him is about to be erased. I think it's the closest the film gets to pure horror, and it's the moment that proves the remake could have worked as a straight sci-fi thriller if it had committed to the tone more often.
And it's also a send-up of The Graduate at the same time. So, yeah, it's... I mean, like you said, they're kind of hinting towards genuine horror. And when you see, as much as we made a joke about the fact that, the implants are too big, they don't make sense, it is kind of gross. And it kind of leans into that element, the whole invaders of... sorry, not Invaders from Mars, Invasion of the Body Snatchers element of this film, which I think is when this film is actually at its strongest, when it's trying to be something a bit more creepy rather than just outright B-movie kind of pastiche, which, the second half really is. But, it's strange film.
We're doing good, aren't we? We've done like an unofficial season across every episode, or like a bunch of episodes, where we've done remakes of 50 schlock. We've done The Thing, The Blob.
Yep.
Now this, all we're missing is the aforementioned, several times you've mentioned it, Invasion of the
Body Snatchers. Yeah, you can't talk about this one without talking about Invasion of the Body Snatchers. I actually watched that for the first time in the 1970s. It is 70s, yeah, late 70s, Invasion of the Body Snatchers.
Early 80s, late 70s, yeah. The one with Donald Sutherland.
Yeah. I'm like, it might be one of those like right on the cusp. I have it in my head, it's like 78, 79. If you told me it was 81, I'd believe you. It's a good film. Yeah. But that's a different kind of film because that is homage to this, but that goes for proper horror. 78, there we go. There are different ways of doing this, and those are perfect examples. The Blob is one side where it's just like, we're leaning into the pastiche, but we're adding this 80s gore, and it almost creates something different. It's like, it's still kind of silly and fun, but also when these characters, meet their demise, it is genuinely shocking, to even watch it today. Whereas Invaders of the Body Snatchers takes that kind of, kitschy premise and turns it into something genuinely unnerving and kind of relevant of the times.
Which is funny.
This film doesn't really do any of those. That's the problem.
Body Snatchers is now a PG.
Well, there isn't a huge amount of, it's like you were saying at the start of this film, what it is creepy. It's not overtly violent or anything like that. It's just creepy. But I'm not sure if I'd be taking my 7-year-old to go and see it.
No, I don't think I'll be taking him to go see this.
No. I think Riley can probably give it a few more years before you introduce him to 1978 Invasion of the Body Snatchers.
Because Riley will wholeheartedly stand in front of me going,
Yeah, you don't need that. No. Yeah, I mean that's the thing. As good as Invasion of the Body Snatchers is, that the last sequence is actually quite funny now, unintentionally. But anyway, Oscar season in which we hand out 3 Oscars and 3 Razzies and categories of our choosing. The Oscar for Best Kung Fu in a movie that doesn't really need it goes to, I think the character's name is Rinaldi, because the general keeps going, Rinaldi, and then just immediately doesn't give a shit when he dies, and his ability to take out armed alien NASA research / janitor, bad guys. It's a bizarre sequence in a bizarre film, but pretty cool. The Oscar for Best Disco in an Alien Ship goes to Stan Winston. As I say, it's not just the fact that you suddenly have these giant aliens. The lighting in those sequences is absolutely insane. To the point when they spot David, there's like numerous spotlights. I'm like, where's this coming from? So bizarre. And finally, the Oscar for Best 80s Throwback and a reminder of when teachers could physically and mentally abuse children goes to Mrs. McCletch. There we go. McCletch. It's not McCletch, it's McCletch.
The Oscar for the Best Creature Design that accidentally predicts a cartoon villain goes to the Supreme Martian Leader. He looks exactly like Krang from Dimension X, a brain thing sitting inside a fleshy mech body.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Yeah. The Oscar for the Best Child POV Sci-Fi goes to David Gardner. As much as he can't run and he can't act for shit, I think it's done good from his POV.
Well, again, it's interesting. It's thematically interesting. It just never quite pulls it off.
Yeah. And finally, the Oscar for the Best Practical Tunnel Monsters goes to the Drone Mutants. I think they look good.
Yeah, fair enough. I disagree, but I get where you're coming from. The Razzie for Worst Running in Any Movie Ever goes to Hunter Carson as David Gardner. I literally cannot believe that he runs that poorly. It's his arms are everywhere, or that someone wouldn't have said, just keep your arms down. To the point where I think it must have been a joke, but they haven't made it obvious enough. So I find myself utterly confused by it and slightly upset. 2, the Razzie for worst aliens goes to those useless big-headed motherfuckers who you seem to quite like. Everybody gets away from them. They're slow, they're cumbersome. They do have rocket launchers or whatever, alien beams on their shoulder, which seems to do quite a bit of damage, but I just didn't think they were great. And again, if I hadn't been told, I would have found it hard to believe that Stan Winston created those. Anyway, the Razzie for worst plan goes to David trying to inexplicably find his parents by running into alien quicksand. At this point, he's shown no interest in finding his parents because he knows they're both taken over by aliens. And then the final showdown, he goes, I have to find my parents, just out of nowhere, and just runs out into the quicksand and gets caught. I'm just like, really? That's going to be your choice to move the narrative forward? Just him inexplicably losing his fucking mind. It makes no sense. It's just a means of getting him onto the alien spaceship, and it's poor screenwriting, to say the least.
For me, the Razzie for the worst adults ever goes to every adult in town.
It's a good point.
The Razzie for the worst alien weapon safety goes to the Martian laser cannon.
Laser, when a bit of Sean Connery.
It can be activated with a coin. You know, I mean, David is basically winning the war with pocket change at that point.
Well, it's weird because it works both ways. It's like it's activated with a coin, and also you need a fucking coin to activate. It's like, I think early in the film, rather than using a coin, it basically what looks like a ruler. It's just a ruler he puts in it.
This day and age, it's like, oh, does it take Apple Pay? You know, can I pay contactless for it?
No. Only copper. You'd be absolutely screwed nowadays.
And the Razzie for the worst decision ever made in a film goes to everybody letting David be in harm's way. Just let's bring him to the alien site. Let's let him go into the alien ship. Let's fucking keep an eye on him. Keep him distracted. Like, not everyone was just letting this kid get away with everything.
Like you said, it's the whole problem of, it needs to be from his point of view. So he has to be involved in everything. So characters, more specifically adults, just have to keep making really, really dumb decisions. Yeah. Keep him, like you say, in harm's way. And then the one person who's trying to do right by him, she's making idiot decisions as well, the nurse. So, I don't think anyone comes out this smelling of roses.
Nope.
Any alternative titles for this film?
I know the routine, but I never have it ready when you ask.
Yeah, it's only like 271 episodes.
I know.
We'll get there eventually.
Right, so I don't think there's many. I'm just going.
And there really shouldn't be, because it's a remake of the 1953 film. But
I mean, Italy, Invaders. Slovakia, Aliens from Mars. That's it. Oh, an Invasion from Mars, West Germany.
It was to be expected. Yeah. Any facts for this film?
More than you would think. To be fair, we've done a couple anyway, but you mentioned it, but we didn't actually. You mentioned Life Force, but we didn't mention it was in this film. When David comes home from school and turns on the TV, the movie playing is Life Force, which is also directed by Tobe Hooper. Right? Is it Tobe or Toby? That's what's always confusing.
I keep saying Tobe.
Yeah.
But
I would say Tobe, yeah.
Well, if you call Toby, spell it Toby. Anyway.
Stan Winston was working on this film and Aliens at the same time, so you could probably see why he phoned this one in.
Yeah, needless to say, his work was slightly superior on Aliens.
The framed portrait behind Brigadier General Wilson is that of Lieutenant General Chesty Puller, the most highly decorated Marine of all time.
Chesty Puller?
Yeah, he didn't direct. He led the Pacific campaign of World War II.
Fucking fantastic. I'm sorry, I think I mentioned when we were doing the podcast that I thought it was actually a picture of General Wilson. I thought that's what they were going for. So
no, Chesty, or real name Lewis B. Puller.
Chesty Puller's a fantastic name. No arguments there.
The scanning device that Bud Cort uses in the elementary school basement is the same prop used by Savick in Star Trek II: The Wrath of Khan when investigating the Regular One station with Captain Kirk and Dr. McCoy. So it's not an EKG meter, it's a
some form of Star Trek device.
Despite its commercial and critical failure, it has become a cult classic.
Yeah, I get it.
Early in development, Steven Spielberg was in talks to direct.
Well, I mean, dare I say, it might have been a slightly superior film if Steven Spielberg had been involved. I'm just not convinced he would have.
But then they would have they would have fell in love with the aliens and spent 15 to 20 minutes saying goodbye to the fucking alien at the end of the film.
It also would have been a lot better.
No, I'm not denying that in the slightest, but it still would have. The ending would have pissed me off. Both of it, I haven't seen Disclosure Day, but both of his other alien films have pissed me off at the end. Either the guy leaves his entire family and goes with the aliens, or the alien takes too fucking long to say goodbye.
No heart, no heart. Although maybe you are showing heart because the Close Encounters thing is pretty dark. It seems all very hopeful until you realize he's just fucked off and just left his whole family behind. But there you go.
When the US Marines invade the school, the extras are actual Marines from the 4th FAAD Battery, a Marine Reserve unit in Pasadena, California. When actress Lorraine Newman's and actor Timothy Bottom's necks explode, the sparks caught the actress's hair on fire and singed a large part of it. She did not realize this until afterwards.
Yeah, a little bit Michael Jackson on the famous Pepsi advert where his hair caught fire. When you see the sequence, it's pretty big spark. And obviously it's not special effects, it's physical effects. I'm just like, I wouldn't be surprised if somebody's hair went up.
And finally, the concept designs for the cave interiors and aliens were heavily influenced by H.R. Geiger's techno-porn designs for Alien, which itself had set a new standard for the look of science fiction film.
I mentioned earlier, it had that vibe, it looked almost like a cross between the ship from Predator 2 with a touch of Geiger thrown in. The fact that he's working on aliens at the same time, it all kind of makes sense, doesn't it?
Yep.
How to Future remake, sequel, Let It Die or Leave Well Alone. Obviously, this is itself a remake. I wouldn't be against another remake. I quite like the idea. I think there's a better version of this movie out there. But if we could also say Let It Die. So pick your poison.
Yeah, lead it out to pasture, I think, because just let it die. We've seen enough of these aliens invading things, and there's better ones coming. So I'm just not for me, this one.
Yeah, I don't feel strongly enough about it, so I'm more than happy for it to let it die. Make a change. If you're going to make one change to make this movie better, beyond getting a stunt child in for any and all running scenes, it's the
You
tone.
are obsessed.
Dude, honestly, go back and rewatch the film. I'm surprised that hasn't upset you more. His running is appalling. But it is the tone. It is the tone. You've got to kind of pick a lane. It never really works. It never feels consistent. I'm never sure when I'm supposed to be in on the joke. As I said, up until the bit with the military, when all of a sudden it overcorrects. I do apologize. As I said, tonally, you've got to really nail it for these movies to work. And fundamentally, I think that's Invaders from Mars' biggest issue.
For me, it's give the mutants more personality. The drone mutants look great, but they're basically big rubber henchmen. Giving them quirks or distinct behaviors would make them more memorable, especially in a film already leaning into surreal, kid-friendly horror. But again, it's hard to do when you've only got two.
Yeah. It makes the whole ship feel very sparse, doesn't it? Where I think at one point they try and sell you on the idea that there might actually be at least 4 of them. But I'm like, is this this is who you're sending in to take over the world and stop the plan? It's like, you couldn't send more dudes. Anyway, very silly. In terms of video games, obviously there wasn't an Invaders from Mars video game. The obvious answers would be kind of the B-movie homages like Stubbs the Zombie or Destroy All Humans. But I would actually go for Rockstar's Bully game. You have David having to go to school, kind of deal with the pitfalls of trying to figure out who's infected, for lack of a better term, or who's been taken up by the aliens, who hasn't. You could obviously widen the net to include the small town and kind of dealing with David's hijinks, but just with an alien twist, obviously.
I went for the obvious answer. I went for Destroy All Humans.
That's
I kind of like your answer, but I just retro alien invasion, brain control antics, small town chaos, sci-fi weapons that feel like toys.
Well, there was the same reason I was thinking of Stubbs the Zombie, but in both those instances, you're playing the bad guy. Ostensibly, you're playing the alien, you're playing the zombie. So I thought, maybe if you're going to do it, the whole point of this film is supposed to be from David's perspective. That's why I was thinking, maybe Bully with a sci-fi twist, but whatever the case.
No, I like that.
IMDb, so this is where we pick a random 10-star and 1-star review.
Before
we do that, IMDb. What did I say?
IMBD.
Sorry.
What the fuck is that?
Internet movie base data. Oh yeah, I fucked that up.
I'm sorry. Once again, I've called you out on something I shouldn't have called you
that's
out on.
That's quite all right. This is a tricky one because I know it's become a bit of a cult classic. There can't be that many reviews. Over 100?
There is over 100, but I wouldn't
127.
115.
Okay, I can live with that. 115. Of 115... Oh, there can't be that many. Fuck, man. 16?
Oh, 4. Not many.
Oh, yeah, that feels more like it. I thought it was going to be one of those weird films where people have a real soft spot for it, but 4 feels about right, even if 4 is also incorrect.
Yeah. This was written in March 2025, titled Never a Dull Moment. This movie hits all the right chords in so many different ways. It's hard to know where to start. The pacing is taut. It springs into action within the first few minutes, and from there is constant suspense and excitement. All the actors put in pitch-perfect performances, but Louise Fletcher really steals the show as an over-the-top, evil, dangerous, weird, and devious school teacher. The sets are very elaborate and ingeniously designed, as are the Martians, though the latter are ultimately really corny and funny, reminiscent of the aliens in the Critter series. There are some surprising, unexpected twists towards the end, plus a big, heartwarming rally, and the fate of Louise Fletcher's character is hilariously ironic. It's a huge payoff to watching this movie. Can I just thank this user for just a review of the film and not a synopsis, but also perfectly grammared. Grammared is not a word, but I'm sticking with it. It's fucking hell.
Yeah, just have it doesn't have to be perfect. Just grammar. Just a solid attempt at grammar. And the thing is, I don't think a lot of his points kind of stand up. I do think the stuff about the teacher is quite interesting. You say the quite iconic death after the whole sequence with her eating the frog. It is quite fun at times, but giving it a 10-star review is still far too much for a stretch. In terms of 1-star reviews, there have to be a few more. I can imagine some people fucking hate this film. 21?
Still 11. Not many.
11? Fair enough.
I mean, we're looking middle of the road. The IMDb of this film is like 5.5, isn't it? So
yeah, I think that's maybe a little bit high, but I just thought maybe some people, it's one of those films, like, because of the tone and everything, if you don't get on with it, you're much more likely to hate it. But yeah, 11's fine.
This one was written in January of 2001, titled Dog of the Year. Well, this movie is one of the worst of all time. And that is saying something, because I am in the turkey.
Okay. That doesn't make any sense, but sure.
No, yeah, he's in the turkey. The one thing this movie is amazing about is that it started the career of Dale Dye as a credible military technical advisor. Later on, he got famed for being the advisor for Platoon and then again on Starship Troopers. But this is where he started. I was one of the 200 real US Marines used in the movie as extras. He's in this turkey. That's what he's trying to say.
I see.
I was one of the 200 real US Marines used in the movie as extras. And even during shooting, we laughed at how unrealistic everything was. But what would we know? We are just stupid Marines. We sat back and let the experts show how real military equipment was to be used. The plot stunk, worn out 20 years before. The acting was so-so. Neither good nor bad. Unremarkable is a word that comes to mind there. Although Mr. Dye plays the oldest squad leader I have ever seen. He is the one that yells fire in the hole and shoots the alien with the anti-tank rocket. I did think that dude looked old as fuck.
Yeah, I just find interesting that I do fundamentally agree with maybe, like the fact that he doesn't like the film, but he's clearly coming at it from the wrong way. It's like, this isn't militarily accurate at all. It's just like, dude, what kind of film do you think you're in, man?
If you want to see a comedy in the vein of Killer Tomatoes, check this movie out. If you were looking for something like serious sci-fi, pass this up and grab something a little more cerebral, like maybe you will never guess ever the film he has suggested.
Which is a little bit more cerebral.
And I'm wondering, it's got to be satire. It's got to be satire.
What is it?
Battlefield Earth.
That has to be a joke. Yeah, that has to be a joke. He hasn't set it up well if it is. He's making it sound like that's his genuine opinion. Yeah. What year was this, did you say?
2001.
Oh, so that would have been just as it came out as well. Yeah. I think he liked Battlefield Earth. I think we might have a Scientologist on our hands.
I think we might do.
Very interesting. All right, that brings us to our own scores and recommendations. For me, it's a pretty easy 2 and a no. I'm not telling anyone to watch this film. I wouldn't even be surprised if you scored it a little bit lower. I did find it quite charming at times. Some of the performances, it's not, you can see the loving homage. It's more the fact that it doesn't quite work tonally, and they just don't really land the plane on anything they're genuinely going for. Sorry, that sounds terrible. Like anything they tried to do, they completely fucked it. I didn't find it a horrible watch. I can see why it's become a cult classic, and under certain circumstances, it might be an enjoyable watch, especially with the right kind of crowd. But I could never give it higher than a 2. So 2 and a no for me.
I can pretty much exactly what you said see how this could be interesting watching it with friends. I mean, with friends, I watch films like Rubber and Space Cop and things like that. So in the right frame of mind.
Surroundings, yeah.
Absolutely. But it's definitely a 2 for me. It may have been a 1.5, but 2 seems right. It's a no for me as well. But what I am interested in is the listener who recommended this, Mark. Mm-hmm. I'd love for you to get back in touch with us and let us know what your ratings and recommendations are for this film, because you requested it, but you did say that it's bad.
Yeah.
But is it your cult classic? So is it a 3 or higher for you, or do you agree?
Yeah, because it's one of those, it's a 2-star film. I wouldn't recommend it, but I also kind of enjoyed it. So
Yeah.
I can see where people are coming from. And there's no two ways about it. If I'm being objective about it, it's not a great film. And, I wasn't like, oh, this is, I even to give it a 3 it just feels like a stretch. But I can see how it could be one of those films where just like, you can just admit that it's just not very good, but at the same time being quite fun. I think anyone would be hard pressed to say this is a genuinely great movie. I know there were like 4 10-star reviews from some psychos, but I think for the most part, people, even people who like it would admit that it's massively flawed.
Yeah.
But there's just something about the tone which just works for you. Whereas I think for us, it didn't quite click, in a way that, like we said, the Blob is objectively a good film. If you think of something maybe close to this in terms of quality, it's maybe something like Critters, for instance, which you mentioned earlier.
Yeah.
Critters isn't a fantastic film, but I just think tonally it just sits in that world a little bit more comfortably in terms of it's clearly a nod to B movies from the 50s, but it also feels like a creature feature from the 80s. It feels like its own beast in a way that this film doesn't. I think that's fundamentally his biggest problem and why we're both giving it a 2, basically.
Agreed, mate. Agreed.
So yeah, that's been 1986's Invaders from Mars. Before we go on to next week's choices, which is yours, do you want to do the quiz quickly?
Let's just do the quiz. I had a rough time with this last time, so I'm hoping to...
I had a shocker last week as well. So this is a game about identifying movies from the worst descriptions ever. So there's 3 to go to. You'll get an initial... Jesus Christ, what's the word I'm looking for?
Clue?
Hint.
Okay.
Clue. I just got confused between the 2. And then you'll get a follow-up if you're struggling.
I'm glad you didn't try and put them together and like Clint or something.
Well, I think that's what I was going to say. I was like, Jesus, anyway, I can't talk anymore, apparently. A karate chop cures amnesia.
Oh, I was going to go, when you said karate chop, I was going to go Karate Kid, but cures amnesia.
This is a tricky one for me because it's not a movie I have a major attachment to. It's weird because I do like subsequent movies
Have I
in the
seen
franchise. I don't know.
Subsequent movies in a franchise.
Which I've enjoyed, but this one I've just, for whatever reason, never kind of caught on for me.
Okay, what's the other one?
2 animals get married.
Fucking hell, a karate chop cures amnesia. 2
This is
animals.
a tricky one. Well, they're all tricky if you haven't seen them, I guess. And that's the problem. Like, I'm not sure if you've seen this film, and I wouldn't be amazed if you hadn't.
No, I'm lost. Is it an animated film?
Not animated.
Okay.
It's puppets.
Puppets?
It's puppets.
It's... Oh, fucking hell. Yeah, okay. You fed that to me. It's the Muppets, isn't it? Miss Piggy, Karate Chop.
It's the Muppets Take Manhattan. So I've seen, I quite like the Muppets. I've seen a lot of their later stuff. For some reason, I've never actually seen the Muppets Take Manhattan.
I've never seen it. But
there we go. So
Miss Piggy loves karate. Okay.
I'm
not claiming that one because obviously...
But it's a tricky one because you haven't seen it. So, I think it's a decent effort that you got there. The second one, a woman is impressed by a big bill. You've definitely seen this one.
A woman is impressed by a big bill.
Yeah.
Okay. Like Bill could mean a person named Bill who is quite large, or it could be obviously like the check or something like that.
It's neither of those.
See, the only thing that makes it is like not the Bill of Rights. It's not National Treasure, is it?
No.
No. Okay. Okay. What's the other one?
And his nice feathers. So a woman is impressed by a big bill
and his nice feathers. So it's a bird.
Mm-hmm. Well, of sorts.
Of sorts. Not Birdman.
When is a woman and a bird or a bird-like creature got a little bit too close to be impressed by his big bill?
Off. No. Okay, it's not Howard the Duck, is
it? It is Howard the Duck, yes. Yeah. So I was just like, this is tricky. I'm going to have to make it a touch more sexual for you to understand that's Howard the Duck.
I know. You can say anything, but as soon as like...
The woman fucks the duck.
The woman fucks the bird. Well, it's Howard the Duck, obviously.
Obviously. So the third and final one, a baby's life is forever changed by a watermelon. It's not a bad one, actually. It's not a bad one.
Baby's life is forever changed by a watermelon.
My only clue, personally, is don't take the term baby too literally.
Yeah, okay. No, I'm...
Before dancing on a log.
Fucking hell. There's some tough ones today.
That one is... You probably should get that one.
Before dancing on a log. A baby's life is forever changed by a watermelon.
Before dancing on a log.
Before dancing on a log.
So think about baby dancing on a log.
Yeah, I can't think of anything dancing on a log. No.
Dirty Dancing.
Fucking hell. Yes. Okay.
Yeah, but that's the thing. It's one of those weird
Yeah.
ones. As soon as you like, oh, because she is baby, then it makes perfect sense. But if you're, listen, I've been in here before when we do the portmanteaus in your words, and you get like locked into something, it's like you could say a million different things. I'm just like, my brain isn't shifting.
I was thinking a watermelon dropping on like a baby bird's parents or something, and her life's forever changed.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Once you go down that route, you're fucked.
Yeah,
you are.
And I was thinking, and where the fuck was dancing on a log coming from? But yeah, I've only ever seen that film once.
Yeah, me too. I've not seen it for a long time.
No.
It's fine. No, it's good at what it does. It's not my kind of movie, but it's good at what it does.
I mean, I couldn't tell you what the watermelon's about.
I can't remember what the watermelon's about. I just it was the baby bit and then the dance on the log. I was like, okay, I got it from that. But yeah, the watermelon. I've not seen it for like 20 years in fairness. Yeah, so that's been the quiz, but it's now your choice. And what are you going for, sir?
It is, sir. So I am going 1992.
Again, 92.
Yeah.
This is your second 1992 in
This
2
is my
weeks.
second 92 in 2
After
weeks. Yeah.
Unforgiven.
This is a film I have seen, not for a long, long time. It's a film I think is going to be interesting to watch now because the technology has
moved on,
totally gone away.
Okay,
but I
technology's
believe
totally gone away. Was it like stop motion or something?
No. Sorry. So yeah, it's really hard to explain the technology of what they're doing.
Okay.
Not gone away, as you say, is improved and stuff. So
Okay. 992.
Directed by Phil Alden Robinson.
Yeah, don't know.
The gentleman who also gave us Field of Dreams as a writer, The Sum of All Fears as a director.
Oh, and 1992. I thought you were going to say directed Field of Dreams. I was like, I don't think he did.
He did direct Field of Dreams, yeah.
Did he direct it as well? Yeah.
He wrote and directed.
My apologies.
He wrote and directed Sum of All Fears, and then
Sum of All Fears, man. That's a movie nobody talks about anymore.
Yeah, that's one of those. Morgan Freeman played him, didn't he?
Yeah.
Not Richard.
Well,
Ryan.
Morgan Freeman was in it, but he didn't play the character.
Not Morgan Freeman. Sorry, I did, Harrison Ford. I confused Morgan Freeman and Harrison Ford, of course. Jack Ryan.
Jack Ryan, yeah.
Anyways, go back to this film. So, let me go back to the clues. Loads of actors in this. I just don't want to give you one that's gonna. Okay. Here's one. River Phoenix.
River Phoenix from 1992. Jesus Christ. Not like My Own Perfect Idaho, whatever the hell that one's called. It wouldn't be that.
River Phoenix.
I don't think that's the name of the film. It's something along those lines.
It is My Own
fair enough.
My Own Private Idaho.
Private, sorry. I knew I got one of the words wrong.
River Phoenix and Sidney Poitier.
Sidney Poitier. Jesus Christ. Oh, I'm drawing a blank on this one.
Dan Aykroyd.
Dan Aykroyd, Sidney Poitier, and River Phoenix. It's going to be one of those horrible ones like last week with Unforgiven, where I'm like, I find out what it is, and I'm just want to kill myself. Maybe 1992 is just not my year.
Ben Kingsley.
What the fuck?
And finally, I'll give it to you, Robert Redford.
Fuck.
I knew you'd
Sneakers?
get it. Yes, I knew you'd get it with Robert Redford. Yeah,
Dude, I actually feel a bit better about that because I've not seen that film, and I was trying to imagine them all on a poster, and I was just like, couldn't put them all together. And as soon as you said Robert Redford, I could suddenly see the Sneakers poster, and I could see all of them. But it was almost like I was putting them together, but the glue wasn't there holding it together.
Exactly, yeah.
I didn't know all those people were in Sneakers. It's a film which totally passed me by. I know it's held in pretty high regard. As you say, I'll be interested to see how it holds up today. But yeah, that was one of those ones I was just like, I feel like it's on the tip of my tongue. I've almost got an image of it. And then Robert Redford, so it certainly made sense.
So the reason why I said about like the technology, because a security pro finds his past returning to haunt him. So it's all about like...
it's kind of like if you go back and watch like when we did
War
Hackers
Games,
for the podcast.
Or War Games.
Or War Games, or The Net with Sandra Bullock. It's like, even if the film is really good, it's of a time. and it's going to have certain issues where you're just like, oh, this is almost quite quaint. Like you say, with War Games, if you go back and watch that, it almost works now because it's so old and so quaint. The way they kind of try and describe computers to people, because that's what they used to have to do. You forget. It's like, even in the 90s, if you watch Hackers and the net and stuff, most people didn't have a home computer. I didn't have a home computer in like 1995. And you're just like, oh, we're going to have to explain to fucking boomers how a computer works. And we've got to visually put that up on screen because we've got to assume that they have no idea what we're banging on about. So there might be a bit of that in this film. Like I said, I've never seen it, so I'll find out this week.
Keep an eye out for Donal Logue in his first on-screen appearance.
Of course. How could you not keep an eye out? Out of interest, where can one watch?
Unfortunately, I've been wanting to watch it for a while, so I am going to make you pay. It's rentable on Amazon Prime at the moment.
That's absolutely fine. It's a film I've wanted to see for quite a while. For some reason, as I said, it's a film that passed me by when I was younger. I was always fully aware of it, but I never even felt like I got close to watching it. I can't remember it ever being on TV. I never rented it, obviously. And now it's popped back into my life thanks to this podcast. So no, I think that'll be a really interesting choice. I'm looking forward to that one. Just out of interest, how is that doing on IMDb? Because I have no idea how it's reviewed. I know it's got a good cast, obviously.
Yeah. It's high, I believe. It's 7.1.
That is pretty high. That is a good movie, according to IMDb. Even if, as we find out on this podcast every week, most reviews cannot be fucking trusted.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, cool. Well, that has been 1986's Invaders from Mars. Please do join us next week for 1992's Rob's ongoing 1992 podcast season. Sneakers. I'm not sure. Do you have any other movies from 1992 lined up?
I don't know what is coming next, but I am.
I can't say anything because apparently I can't remember any movies from 1992.
I am
so
wholeheartedly now looking for 1992 because I'm going to stick with it as long as I can now.
Yeah, just see what else is out there. I'm sure there are a bunch of other very good movies from 1992. But anyway, do you have anything else to add before we wrap this up?
Yeah, I'm just looking at movies released in 1992 now.
Okay.
Aladdin, The Bodyguard, Home Alone 2, good. Basic Instinct, Lethal Weapon 3, Batman Returns, A Few Good Men, Sister Act, Dracula, Bram Stoker's Dracula, Wayne's World.
We've covered a few of them. Oh, Wayne's World. There's loads to work with there. Loads to work with. All right, so it could be an official 1992.
That's not all of them, obviously, but I've given you a list.
Yeah, that's not every film released in 1992, but I get it. All right, fair play. Well, I've been Liam, he's been Rob, and you've been listening to the Hey Guys podcast. Cheers, guys.
Cheers, guys.
Oh, and before I forget, where can folk reach us if they were so inclined to?
Well, you can actually reach us on Hey You Guys 80s at Facebook, Instagram, and on Twitter. But if you want to send us a mail, do heyyouguys80s@gmail.com. Send us in your recommendations. Send us in your thoughts about any of the episodes. Just literally talk to us. We'll have a one-sided talk with you on the podcast.
Yeah. We're nice folk. Get in touch. But no, cheers, guys. Bye-bye.
Cheers, guys. Bye now.